I know this is famous last words, but this isn't what it looks like. If you're seeing the title of this video and coming to this video thinking it's gonna be one of those videos where I'm just like, this movie's gonna suck because some libtard said some things that I disagree with because they have a mind of their own, then just go away. You know that's not what I do. Come on now. Shut up. I'm here to talk about the Joker's PR disaster, not from an internal perspective, not because any actors or whatnot have said some stuff I disagree with. It's actually more how the media is handling the very existence of this movie. So surrounding the Joker's release, I've seen a lot of outrage from the press, from the media. Concerns that this film could be inciting violence and crimes, glorifying the criminal underworld, and used as a means of controlling the masses to riot against the standing order and impose a new world order of insanity and criminality. The Joker tries to say that we're living in a society. Well, now it's time to realize that we live in a society, alright, of hysteria. Because what will we do when the Joker movie inspires the actual gamer uprising which has laid dormant in our society for decades? What will we do when it validates incel culture? Whatever will the heroes at the press do when the impressionable, idiotic and pure masses of society are all driven to do heinous things because a movie inspired them to do so? Don't they know the influence that media has? We need more people to be more like the Waltons and less like the Simpsons. The rebellious underdog has no place in our society. Clowns bad. Clowns scary. The Joker can't be bad and scary. There must be some kind of a message they can take from him as the main character. They can't use him to excuse their behaviors when the masses all go rioting. We need to boycott this film. Boycott it, I say. Make sure so few people go to see it so they can't repeat the heinous acts portrayed in the movie. People who cosplay villains to comic conventions need to be banned. They make me and my daughter Susan uncomfortable. Really, guys, it is 2019 and we are still having this conversation. Look, let me dial the clocks back a minute to the 1970s. In 1971, our impressionable world was exposed to Alex DeLarge and his group of droogs. That film was A Clockwork Orange, a film that was exposed to a lot of controversy from the press, from the churches, from the authorities, as the film was extremely violent and disturbing. It featured scenes of murder, assault of all different kinds of natures, and its central character was the perpetrator of it. And in the end, the moral message wasn't, hey, don't do that, you know? The moral message was, you can only take so much bad out of a person before you take all of their humanity altogether. You can't just extinguish bad out of society by forcing it out, which is an extremely controversial message to display in a film, and a very hard-hitting way of presenting that with our main character, Alex DeLarge. Now, after the film's release, there were a series of copycat crimes relating to the film that had drawn inspiration from the film. So the film's director, Stanley Kubrick, accepted responsibility for this and had the film banned, and it was never seen again officially until 2000 when the film was released on DVD and VHS. So that tears it, right? That kind of answers the question, do films inspire crime? Yeah, they inspire crime, because we have crimes that were very obviously inspired by this film. Another example that you can have is The Dark Knight, in which case, the sequel to the film, The Dark Knight Rises, there was the shooting in the cinema, where the perpetrator, James Holmes, ran into a Colorado cinema and shot up the audience of The Dark Knight Rises, describing himself as the Joker. So you could say that he was inspired by the Joker, and a fictional character has inspired a heinous act of crime. So I get that perspective. There is evidence to suggest that fictional characters and movies can inspire specific crimes. But the reason why I'm surprised we're still having this conversation in 2019 regarding the new Joker film is because I feel like we all had a very common sense-based answer to this. I think the world kind of met kind of a consensus in regard to A Clockwork Orange, in regard to The Dark Knight, in regard to other films displaying shocking acts of violence. And that answer kind of being that it takes a psychopath to enact out a crime like this. If an individual were to watch a violent movie and then go enact out what they had seen in said movie in real life to a person, then what is the cause of that crime? Is it the film? Or is it the mental well-being of the person enacting the crime in real life? And I think in 2019, that answer should be pretty dang obvious. Films don't commit crimes people who commit crimes. If a person feels the inclination to be violent, feels that impulse to be violent, without a valid, rational rhyme or reason to do so, then a film is not going to be the necessary catalyst to make them do that. They're going to do that anyway, regardless. Maybe the film makes it happen sooner, maybe the film inspires the nature of said crime, but again, the film is not a rational reason to go and commit an act of violence or murder. So if they have made an irrational act and have not got a rational reason to do so, their reason is a film, which is not rational, then they are not a rational person. And if they are not a rational person, they are a psychopath. So who is to blame for crime? Is it films or is it psychopaths? And here's the thing that just bugs me so much. I'm gonna get political for a second here, do forgive me for this. Is after the Texas Walmart shootings and everything, the government of the USA was saying we're going to investigate violent video games. This is what happens when we keep electing really old people with no semblance of forward thinking. This is what comes with a lack of open-mindedness, and I'm not blaming the voters, I'm not naming names or anything here, but modern problems require modern solutions. There has undoubtedly been an uprising in mass shootings in America, and something does need to be done about that, and it can't be something where you've got a 70-year-old man calling the shots on it. You can't. The future of American crime fighting is very different to what the president would be used to in his day and age. It's different to the way things will be handled back when he was young. And I mean, that's not me blaming him directly. And that's not me blaming voters, because all of the candidates are older than dirt. They're all old. Old people are determining the future of a new generation that thinks differently, behaves differently, and has a different set of problems. And that's also not an attack on old people, because that's not to say that there isn't an old person in the world that can tackle modern issues. There are some, but the thing is, like, it depends on a mindset, and to be honest, like, it's still a risk factor. But I guess I'm going off on a bit of a tangent there, because this wasn't supposed to get as political as that. I think, to be honest, what is and isn't political, again, that's a political thing in itself. But I think, like, this is relating to movies and everything, and attitudes towards movies and the influence that they have. To be honest, I do think that filmmakers have some degree of responsibility to make sure that a film doesn't have the wrong message unless it's part of the point of the project. Like, for example, there's a Family Guy episode called Seahorse Seashell Party, which involves Brian basically going on a major drug trip. And at the end of the episode, Stewie basically tells the audience, if you want to know more about drugs, contact a drug dealer. Now, unless it's made clear in the first place that this is made for an audience that is not impressionable, that is not going to draw these kind of messages from it, that it's made for a very specific type of audience that can handle when things are satirical, when things are, you know, not going to have messages in them. If it prides itself on being irreverent, that's a different thing. Like, you got to set things up tactfully. If you're going to be irreverent and full of toxic, awful messages because you know that your audience is just going to see it for what it's worth, you need to make it clear from the get-go. Because that's kind of how you show your audience respect, is basically understanding that, no, they're not going to take the wrong message from this, because why would they take a message from Family Guy? I haven't seen Joker yet. I'm assuming it's a cautionary tale. Either that, or it's going to be one of those things where it knows that its audience going in will know, don't take the messages from this. I mean, the film is called Joker. Joker is a villain. He's known to be a villain. So to be honest, does it really hurt for the film to be irreverent? There is literally a film called Look Who's Back, which is all about Adolf Hitler returning to modern day society and inciting the same philosophy of hatred that he did back in the day, and everybody being completely oblivious to it, and the end message is that you could never truly extinguish hatred. I'm fine with a film having a pessimistic message. I'm fine with it being dark. But the important thing about any kind of film is to know your audience, and to be honest, what more can they really be doing? The film is rated R. So basically, the short form version of this part of the video is that, no, films don't cause crimes, idiots do. And if you're trying to boycott this film for being violent, then you're wasting your time. If you guys have anything to contribute to that discussion, please do leave a comment below and let's have a friendly discussion about it. And I mean friendly, because, like, I'm not open to that kind of... I'm not open to name-calling. Okay, so the next part, we're going for something a bit lighter now, is a moment on the Jimmy Kimmel Show. where Jimmy Kimmel was interviewing Joaquin Phoenix. And Joaquin Phoenix is talking a lot about getting into this role and kind of trying to find the best performance within it, try to find sort of his inner Joker, and he takes it very seriously, obviously. And Jimmy Kimmel is just constantly joking at his expense all the time, and I don't think that's very professional. I don't think that gives Jimmy Kimmel any kind of sense of credibility. But here's the point where it really bugs me, is that basically to make another joke at Joaquin Phoenix's expense once again, they pull up a clip which is a sort of a candid video where Joaquin Phoenix is sort of losing his temper a little bit at a crew member. It's sort of a quiet altercation. It's a bit of a disagreement. Joaquin Phoenix is sort of getting tired of this crew member called Larry constantly whispering while he's trying to find the right way to deliver a line, the right way to deliver a scene. And Joaquin Phoenix basically just asks him to shut up and leave, which he apologizes for initially, but it's presumed that the whole thing does go on further as Joaquin Phoenix does become a bit more agitated later down the video. So it's basically Joaquin Phoenix having a little altercation with Larry, the crew member. Now, the thing is, I do have questions here. Why did they feel the need to show that on a talk show while Joaquin Phoenix is sitting there? For any reason other than humiliation. Like, why would you do that? On any film. Even a film that presents itself as being as friendly as your average MCU flick will have altercations. There will be altercations between crew members and cast members, between executives, producers, directors. There will always be altercations, because to make a film is a very stressful thing. Yes, there's a lot to get right, a lot can go wrong, there's a lot of money involved, and if your main actor is playing a character like the Joker, there's a lot of emotional stuff involved there. So why did this go public? But worse yet, who provided them with this footage? Like, did Warner Brothers provide them with that? Because, to be honest, I can't think of a bigger middle finger to Joaquin Phoenix for his performance than that, to be honest. And considering how much, like, Warner Brothers has been banking on this film to be amazing, to be a success, considering how much they want that Oscar and everything, like, to kind of treat your lead actor like that by supplying footage of him having a bit of a emotional meltdown on set, like, I'm sorry, I just think that's disgusting. That's not an okay way to treat people that are working for you. Okay, so now I'm going to talk a little bit about some of what Todd Phillips has been saying in the media as well, where he's basically been saying that Joker is going to sort of parody outrage culture, basically. He basically said, you know, comedy doesn't work today because everyone gets offended by everything. Now, I'm just going to give my opinion quickly on this because, again, don't want to get too political. Some people might get triggered. This sounds like either the words of a 12-year-old edgelord or a total baby boomer. I should specify a militant baby boomer. The kind of baby boomer that cares a lot about the fact that they are a baby boomer. Now, personally, I enjoy all kinds of comedies. I'm not really the outraged type. I'm not really the offended type. I stated earlier that I watch Family Guy. I really enjoy Family Guy. I've had family relatives die of cancer before, and Family Guy has made jokes about cancer, and I can roll with it. I'm fine with it. I'm just not that kind of person. I can see the comedy in something that's insensitive. I can see the comedy when it gets so near the knuckle that it's almost punching you in the face. I can appreciate offensive comedy because I know that it is offensive comedy, so just leave it at that. But the thing is, like, usually when it's made by professionals and all that, it's got some degree of tact to it, and it's the tact that makes it work for me. And I think that's the main thing with good comedy, is it does need to have some semblance of being good-natured and not, you know, callous. But I think to kind of say that all comedy is dead because you can't offend anyone anymore is silly. It's just silly. It sounds like he's having a little cry because some people got offended over the internet sometimes. Part of it is about knowing who to listen to, who your audience is. Know your audience, once again, like... Some jokes are going to fly with others, and some jokes aren't. And you know what? People have every right to feel offended over certain things. But I think some of the best comedy is the kind of comedy where it is clean, because it takes a lot of tact. Like, I don't see the comedy in being like, ha 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 ha, death, ha 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 ha, disease, ha 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 ha, terrorism. There's nothing funny about that. And even with a show like South Park, which touches on all kinds of aspects like that, they still do it with tact and a good nature. In the end, it's all in the execution, really. Like, comedy is more than just a subject matter. Comedy is how you take that subject matter and what you want to say about that subject matter. And I don't really get how we can really not understand that, but hey. Well, anyway, how many of you are unsubscribing after this? Anyway, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, don't forget to hit subscribe, hit the like button, and in the description below are links to my Patreon and my Discord. This video is brought to you by Zentai for all your cosplay needs. Link is in the description below, and they are very cool and good. Cosplay your favorite characters or send in one of your own designs. Affordable prices and very high quality. Made to order and made to measure. But most of all, made to be heckin' awesome. If you couldn't already tell. Guys, can you believe where we are now and where we started? How long ago it was that Channel Pup, or Channel Go even, came about? Because it really wasn't that long when you think about it. Can you believe the amount of support I've received from this community, from all of you subscribing to the channel and everything? It's unreal. It's a dream come true for me. But behind the YouTubers you watch usually comes a bit of a truth, is that they're often dirt poor. Now, I've had the good fortune of being able to grow this YouTube channel and hopefully turn it into a career, but I'm gonna need a little bit of help along the way to even the odds to make ends meet, so that I can use all of the possible time that I have to make videos for you guys, as opposed to doing something mundane for barely enough money to make it worth its while. I've done all that. I've lived that life. The fact is, together we all built Channel Pup. We made it what it is today, and I want to keep the ball rolling on that. I don't ever want to stop doing this, because this is the most gratifying job I've ever had, and I think the most pleasurable hobby anyone could ever have. I don't take any of the support that I receive from you guys for granted, but if in any way you're wondering if maybe you could do a little more for the channel even, then I want to direct you to the Patreon link in the description below. It would mean the world to me to have your support via Patreon. It can help me to make ends meet. It can help me to better my content. It can help me to have more time to really work on this stuff. But you know what? I'm not just going to take your support and run. No way, Jose. In the Patreon, you can access exclusive videos via the Pups Project Room playlist, where you can see different projects that I've been working on or have worked on that have either not made it to YouTube for general viewing or have been cancelled, or, well, you can get a little view of the process that goes behind the Channel Pup videos and productions. As well as that, you tend to get advanced previews of the bigger Channel Pup projects, our tentpole event projects. If you've seen Marvelous Tales of Spider-Man, you'll be aware that that was released on the Patreon first, and 20 days later approximately was released for general viewing on YouTube. That's not the only time I'm gonna do this. But you know what? If you can't do the Patreon, or are just not interested in doing the Patreon, I fully understand. Like, it's still a big ask in my opinion. And what counts most is your support. So, as always, thank you so much, guys. I've been Channel Pup, and I will think of a better catchphrase next time. Now please leave